Hi, everyone. Welcome to the ProVideoPages webinar and podcast series. I am joined today by Deborah Myers. Deborah's company, VirtuArte, brings back that personal connection that's missing in so many of people's relationships with their clients. And honestly, after just recording the webinar with Deborah, I'm convicted a little bit about not paying as close attention as I should, because there's really such an opportunity to strengthen relationships. So I look forward to talking with you, Deborah, about some of this and digging into some of these topics. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Yeah. So first of all, please introduce yourself and briefly tell us what you do.
So I am Deborah Myers, CEO of VirtuArte. And as Anne said, we work with businesses to help them bring back that personal connection. And we work with our clients so that they start to build and nurture the relationships with their customers. Too many businesses really don't know that much about their customers. I'm always amazed, particularly when businesses have been working with their customers for a number of years, and I start asking them about their hobbies, their interests, and the most frequent answer is, I have no clue. We get our clients to start to get to know their customers, and then we help them to take that information and build a strategy or a plan so that they can stay connected, top of mind with their clients, by showing their clients that they value them, they appreciate them, and that they care for them.
Thank you. I feel like it's a mindset in a way to start thinking differently about our clients. What would you say is that first step someone should take?
The first step is to pay attention and to listen.
Mm-hmm.
And why I say that is most of us when we start a meeting or a call with a customer, we ask some type of icebreaker question, such as, do you have plans for the weekend, or how was your weekend, or what have you been up to lately? But most people don't listen to the answers. They're trying to get to having that conversation about the business, about the issue, about a proposal, whatever the topic is. And it's the answers to those icebreaker questions that start to give you those little nuggets of information that tell you about your customer as a person.
Mm-hmm.
So pay attention to what they wear. Pay attention to what they have around them in their offices, or on their backgrounds on calls, and write down that information. So that would be the first step.
I like that. And I'm going to switch to something, and maybe I'm kind of putting myself too much into this, but what struck me when at the beginning of the webinar, you mentioned about lost opportunity when you don't give a gift. And I was thinking, boy, you could spin that to the positive, which is when you do this, when you do learn those things, you have the opportunity. And you did kind of spin it positively anyway, but the cost of the gift is actually less than the cost of trying to replace that customer, right?
Right. Yes. I can't tell you how many times I've had business owners say to me, what you're talking about is an expense that I don't want to have right now. And my response to that is, okay, you could spend what, $100, $200, maybe $500 over the year, not at one time, but over the year, on your customer, to show them that you appreciate their business. That can be a gift, that can be taking them out to lunch or dinner, a whole array of different things. Or that customer leaves, and you as the business owner spend what, $5,000, $10,000 to acquire a new customer. So you're already at a negative when that new customer starts with you. And there's also a very high probability that the new customer is not going to be purchasing your product or service at the same level as your existing customer was. So you also then have that delta that you have to make up. And when business owners start to think of it in that perspective, they start to realize that investing in the relationships with their customers has such a high return for their business, not only in terms of current revenue, but of course, future revenue. And the other area that most businesses don't think about is referrals. When your customer starts to refer you, you are getting a vetted referral, and you're already partway through your sales funnel. You don't have to start from the beginning because they already know you. They know your products. You're moving into them liking and building trust. So that's a whole another area that's often lost that business owners don't think about with regard to their existing customers.
Very good point. I mean, who's best to refer somebody than somebody who's all actually in the eyes of the prospective client? Who would you like to get a referral from? Somebody who's had a great relationship and in already working with that person.
Exactly.
So, yeah, thank you. So that is for those who really think that gift giving is an expense. It's actually a very important part of your overall mix of how you spend your time and money, with saying thank you to those clients and retaining clients. I'd like to move on and ask you a question about generational gift giving. Do you think anything's different, say, giving to somebody who's Gen X or baby boomer versus, millennial or Gen Z?
Yes, there's definitely a difference. There are, I would say, the younger generations may be more into experiences versus, getting things. But this goes back to listening and paying attention to your customer. If your customer is, into experiences, you'll start hearing about them going to concerts, that they went to some, exhibition, maybe took a cooking class. And that would give you the clue that they're looking for that type of I won't say looking for that type of gift, but that's what they value more than getting that bottle of wine or that, that thing. It goes how to figure that out, or, define what they would like is by listening and paying attention.
Yeah. So that gets me to thinking, this is a website that um, some came up recently, and it's a Sugar Wish. I'm sure you're familiar with it. Are you?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. I would love to know what your thoughts are. And I'm thinking in terms of, for some people, I mean, for a small gift, that might be like I'm thinking maybe a mid-year gift or something. They're having a hard day, send them a gift certificate, or, send them a link to buy stuff at Sugar Wish or something. Could it work? And if so, when would it work? When would it not work?
So first, as I, said in the webinar,
Yeah.
You need to understand whether your customer eats those kinds of things.
Good point. Mm-hmm.
If they don't, and I'll give you an example in a second. If they don't, then it's not going to have any impact whatsoever. So I recently received. I work with a vendor, and I've worked with him for a number of years. And at the end of the year, he sends me in a card 2 Dunkin' Donut gift cards. I never go to Dunkin' Donut. I don't really eat sweets, and I gave up coffee a number of years ago. So those gift cards are useless, for me.
Yeah.
So along those lines, if your your customer drinks coffee or is a big fan of Starbucks, or a local coffee place, send them a gift card to the coffee place. But it goes back to knowing your customers.
Mm-hmm.
Just randomly sending them the gift card to that website, or sending them brownies or cookies. If they eat it, great. But if they don't, it goes back to what I said. The person says, wow, if she really knew me, she would know I don't eat this stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Good point. Good point. Another point that you made is to do your preparation in advance. And I'm thinking about people who are just starting down this road of they've just maybe shifted their thinking to go, oh, opportunity, better ROI, keep those customers. When you say preparation in advance, I assume it is the listening and compiling information that you can find about them. Also, I assume for some people, if they post publicly on any social channels, you might get some
Right.
clues there.
Mm-hmm.
But then also, I liked the idea that take your time to plan while you're at your computer before it's time to actually purchase. And I've got to think that also goes for purchasing online.
Oh,
Go with an intention, right?
absolutely. Because otherwise, you can end up spending hours, looking for, something. And if you have no idea what you're looking for, uh, I've often said, I have done this in the past, and my husband and I just went shopping, and he asked me, well, what exactly are you looking for? And I go, I don't know. I'll see it. I'll know it when I see it. And yeah, but you end up spending a lot of time looking for that thing that you don't quite know what you're looking for. So planning is really important. And even if you think about you want to give gifts at the end of the year, start now.
That's exactly what I was thinking, because then you can put the pressure on yourself now over a period of time to find that right gift, to get yourself in that zone, right?
Exactly. So you start acquiring the information about your clients, and then you have the whole year to find that gift, or you see something. I know people who they see something, they may see something in April, they may see something in August, and they buy it because they know that that would be the perfect gift, and they save it, for the end of the year. So uh, planning is all year round. Basically, and it's just when you are going to send the gift. And I will just say one last thing about when to send the gifts. If you're going to do the end of the year, I have my clients think about sending something before Thanksgiving or in January, because December is just crazy. December is everybody's trying to finish out the year, finish up whatever business that they're trying to do. They've got their own holiday shopping that they're doing, and they've got all of their other events, parties, and things. And so your gift ends up getting lost in what I call the holiday noise. If you think about doing it before Thanksgiving or in January, and we finished up a couple of weeks ago the last gifts for our clients in January, it's after the holidays. People have kind of that, rush is gone. It's winter, it's cold, it's dreary. They don't have anything to look forward to. And then all of a sudden, gift comes that they weren't expecting it. That has an impact.
Yeah. Yeah. Good point. And it is all about, you had mentioned people want to feel valued.
Yes.
And if part of this is making sure that, or trying to make it stand out without being pretentious in a way. So why not pay attention to the timing, right?
Yeah. No,
Um,
exactly.
yeah. Who is ideal to work with you versus doing it on their own?
So our ideal client is somebody who first wants to invest in the relationships with their customers. Secondly, is making gifts more personal and meaningful is important to them. A customer who comes to somebody who comes to us and says, just send that fruit basket to everybody, is not a customer that is a good, ideal customer for us. Then, somebody who will work with us and take the time to start, to get to know their customers. Because let me tell you, there's a lot of things that people, other than gifts, there's ways that businesses can show their customers that they're listening and paying attention. So as I said, you ask your customer how they're doing, what they've been up to, and they say to you, oh, my grandchildren came, for the weekend. And so of course you're going to ask, well, how many grandchildren do you have? How old are they? Then the next time that you are having a conversation with that particular customer, ask them how their grandchildren are doing. And that will show, one, that you listened, paid attention, but secondly, that you took the time to ask them about something that is important to them. Has nothing to do with the business, has nothing to do with your company, but it's important to them. And those are the things that customers remember. So It's getting the information, but also use that information in ways to show your customer that you do care about them and that you're interested in things that are important to them.
Yeah, thank you so much. Okay, I do like to ask a couple of questions of all of my guests. What is the coolest part about working with a client?
The coolest part. So, there's two, I'm going to say 2 points. One is finding what I think would be the perfect gift. Now, we always give our clients 3 options so that they pick the one that they want. So, but I will say, without, indicating which one I think would be perfect, about 85% of the time they pick the one that I think would be the perfect gift. So that's one in finding the perfect gift. But the second is when they email me or call me to tell me the response they got back from their customer. And then I'm always like, yes, we did it. So those are the 2 points that I really enjoy.
That sounds like fun. And you know what? I'm one of those gift givers that I get kind of like a deer in the headlights. I think too much about, is somebody going to like this? And I don't know enough about somebody to know. And this even falls into like my nieces and nephews. Kind of, do I know enough to know, are they going to like this thing? And
Uh-huh.
I think sometimes it paralyzes me, but that's a whole different conversation. But I am going to start paying closer attention. So we've talked about a lot of different things here. And as we're wrapping up, in 1 or 2 sentences, what would you hope that listeners take away from the webinar and our conversation here on the podcast today?
One is the importance of listening and paying attention to your clients. And then, secondly, that it doesn't matter how expensive the gift is. What matters is that it is meaningful and important to them. And that's the key, because I have seen gifts that are, less than $10 that are something that the person has remembered for almost a lifetime.
Mm-hmm. Good point. And then finally, what would you consider the most important reason that someone should take a look and watch that webinar?
I would say one, the different kinds of gift givers that there are, because I don't think people really think about that at all.
Mm-hmm.
But secondly, how giving a gift can impact not only your relationship with your customer, but also your business.
Mm-hmm.
Because if your customers feel valued, appreciated, and cared for, they're going to stay with you, and they're going to stay with you for a long time. And customers who are longtime customers, they are the foundation of your business. A business cannot grow or scale with constantly acquiring new customers. It's the increase in the longevity and the purchase power of your existing customers that's help you to grow.
Thank you so much, Deborah, for joining me and again, putting the effort into sharing such solid content. I really appreciate it.
All right. Thank you so much once again for the opportunity.